In this video, we're going to learn PHP variables. Let's go to our file FTP. First, let's back up all our files to our PHP folder on our computer. So I'm just going to open this folder and I'm going to select both these files by holding Control. So if you click on the left arrow, you'll see that they're going to be copied into the PHP folder. Okay, now let's create a new file, variables.php. Okay, so you're going to open this file using brackets. And now we're going to use an HTML template, and then we're going to inject a PHP code into it. So you're going to use a Bootstrap template. So if you can go to your Bootstrap folder and go to the last file and just copy the content from there. If you go back to the variables file, just paste the content. Okay, so now we've got the Bootstrap template. We're just going to get rid of the content. Okay, so we don't need the last script. And also, if you go in the body elements, we're going to keep the container div, but we're just going to delete the contents of the div. Okay, and also we don't need the attributes of the body and the contents of the style element. Okay, let's change the title to variables. And let's do some formatting. Okay. Okay. So first, I'm going to create a heading. Okay. I'm going to write variables in the heading, and let's style our heading. Okay. Let's give it a color, purple. So if you go to the browser and just go back to the PHP folder, if you refresh, you can see the variables file. Just click on it, and now you can see our web page with the variables heading. Okay, so now I'm going to create a paragraph, and then inside our paragraph we're going to write some PHP code. So we're going to have the PHP tag. Okay, and now let's create our first variable. So as we have seen in JavaScript, there are certain rules that we need to follow for the syntax of variables. So in PHP, variables need to follow some slightly different syntax than JavaScript. So the first rule is our variable needs to start with a $sign, okay, and then we can have the name of the variable. So let's have a variable name that we can set to a string John. Okay, so the variable starts with a $sign, and then the name of the variable needs to start with a letter or an underscore. Okay, letter or underscore. So we can't start with a number, for example, and also obviously we can't have any space inside the variable. So that's our first variable. Let's create another one. So this one is going to be age, and let's set it to a number 33. Okay. Now let's use these variables. So you're going to use a function echo. So if you click on the function name and then do Control K, since we have installed some extensions, we can see some details about the function. So you can see that our function can output one or more strings. Okay, and it's returning void. So this is what the function is returning. Okay, and void means that the function is not returning anything. It's still outputting something on the screen, but it doesn't return anything. Okay, so that's the name of the function, and these are the parameters of the function. Okay, we don't have to use parentheses unless we have more than one parameter. Okay. Anyway, so let's use the echo function to write something on the screen. So I'm going to have a string. My name is, okay, and then we're going to add. We're going to concatenate this string with another string, which is going to be our name variable. So we're going to use a dot sign followed by the variable name. Okay. So in JavaScript, we use the plus sign, but in PHP, we use the dot sign to concatenate strings. Then we're going to add another string. And then we're going to add another element here. So if you add a number to a string, then the number is going to be treated as a string. Okay. And then another string. And then we need to finish our statements with a semicolon. And now if we refresh the page, we can see the output inside our paragraph. Okay. Okay, so just add a space there. That's better. Okay, now let's create another paragraph. Okay, and let's have a PHP tag again. So this time we're gonna have a look at something different. We're gonna look at constants. So in PHP we have two types of variables. We have the regular variables, like the ones we have created there, and we have constants. So constants, they are identifiers for simple values. So they will identify a value that will not change in our script. So what does it mean? So it means that once you have defined a constant in your script, then after that, the value of that constant cannot be changed in your script. Okay? And constants, they are used mainly for configuration settings, like to define the name of a database or a password of a database, for example. Okay? And the syntax is pretty simple. So we need to use the define function to define a constant. Okay, so this function is going to take a couple of parameters. So the first one is going to be the name of our constant inside double quotes. Okay, so for example, if our constant is named country, so we're going to place this inside the double quotes here in the first parameter. And the name of the constant has got to be entirely uppercased, and we don't have any $ sign. So that's the difference with regular variables. Okay, and then after that, we can place the value of our constant. So let's give it let's go for a string, and we are going to use a string there, England, for example. Okay, so that's how we can define a constant. Let's use this constant using the echo function. So for example, we can write flight destination, and then let's add our constants. Okay, so if we save and refresh, now we can see the output there.